Hi guys, am I visible and audible? Shiva, Ashmita, Bowler, Akanksha, Akshay, Red Cell, Saurabh. Can you all see me and hear me, guys? All right, great. Today we have three classes. All right, this is the first one of the series on multiple tumors that we're going to look at. In this class, we will be focusing on renal tumors. Okay. Bidur, Bhavna, who are just joining in now. So back-to-back classes we have at 1 hour gaps. So this is the 5 p.m. class. Then we have one at 7 focusing on lung tumors, and then we have one at 9 p.m. focusing on liver tumors. Okay, where we'll look at everything about these tumors. We'll look at all the pathology, all the surgery, all the stagings of these particular tumors. All right, so very, very important for your exams that you do everything in an integrated manner now that the time is very, very short, and you keep solving MCQs, all right, from the topics that we're covering. Hi Pragya, hi Sudha, welcome to class. So all of you know about Iconic subscription, guys. You can get access to both Unacademy and Prep Ladder at the same platform now. Hi Jill, hi Sudha. So those of you who are juniors, I'd seriously recommend this to those of you who have time on their hand and can, utilize multiple resources. So this will be a good idea. And these are the packages for that. Okay, so shall we begin? All good to go? Any doubts from the previous classes? One of you had asked a doubt on the group. Is he or she there? I think he was Prateek probably. I don't think he's there. All right, okay. So when he'll come, we can discuss it. Any other doubts, guys, that you have before we begin? All good to go? Can you all see me and hear me properly? Okay, chalo, let's begin then. All right, so Barry's also joined in. So let's begin with RCCs. All right, so our outline for today's class will be, we'll look at all the renal cell carcinomas. A lot of questions will come from pathology. A lot of questions will come from inherited disorders. All right, so a lot of syndromic questions around RCCs will come in your exam. After that, we will look at the cystic renal diseases. All right, so all the cystic ADP-CKD, ARP-CKD, everything we'll look at. And then if time permits, I'll briefly tell you about the Wozniak classification. You must have heard of this term, which is Wozniak classification for renal cysts. Correct? So if time permits, I'll briefly orient you to what that is. All right, because I've seen a couple of questions which have come from that. So I'll briefly tell you about that. So Sanjana, Shrigiri, Dr. S, who's joining in. Let's begin now. So I'll begin with an MCQ on renal cell carcinoma. Okay, guys, go for it. Okay, so I see no correct answers so far. I thought this was an easy question. Okay, no issue. So that means that we have a lot to learn about RCCs. Correct. Again, this is a topic not very frequently taught. So let me just increase the time. Those of you joining in. So Kishore, Siddhant, Shivani, Girish, Queen Phoenix, you can all attempt the poll, guys. You have some more time. Kaushik, Arzu, a lot of people are now joining in. Okay, let me give you guys 10 more minutes, 10 more seconds. So Balaji, Ritesh, guys, quickly attempt the poll. Till now, 0% have given the correct answer. Okay. Chalo, I feel everybody has attempted now and 0%, like this is a record. All right, guys. So see, a lot of you felt that this was a correct option, that a triad of pain, lump, and hematuria. No, it's not painless. This is the triad, but it is not seen in 30 to 40% cases. It is seen in less than 10% cases. All right. I thought this was apparently an easy statement which you keep reading again. No issues. So, ab yaad rakhna, everybody. Pain, lump, hematuria, the typical triad that you always hear about RCC, correct? In our undergraduate days, we always look out for this triad whenever we think about RCC. So remember, guys, it is less than 10%, all right? It's not common at all to see all the symptoms in a case of RCC. Okay, so is this clear? The mistake, universal mistake by all of you. So those of you joining in, this is our first question, all right? And record-breaking result of 0% correct. Okay. So remember, typical triad, pain, lump, hematuria that you expect seen in less than 10%. Sorted. Everybody will remember this. Then obviously rest of the statements are all correct, and these are all learning points for us, which are, that is how I framed the question. So one more percentage we need to remember, 30% will present when their disease has become metastatic. Can you tell me the most common site of metastasis, guys, in RCC? People who are joining in now, just began. All right, just began with the first question. Yes, so it is indeed the lungs. All right, it is indeed the lungs. So Sharmi, Girish, Sangmesh, Mohit, we've just begun. All right, we have discussed the statements true about RCC. So the typical triad, less than 10% cases, the most important learning point. And a lot of these patients will present with metastatic disease, to lungs being the most common site. Is there a higher risk with asbestos exposure? Definitely, it's a true statement. Can you tell me what are all the malignancies which have an increased risk with asbestos exposure, guys? Quickly tell me what are the malignancies. Very nice. So if I ask you the most specific malignancy, your answer will become mesothelioma. RCC means renal cell cancer. We are all talking about renal cell cancer. Today's topic, for those of you joining it, today's topic is on kidney tumors. Okay, and we are beginning our discussion with renal cell carcinomas. All right, okay. Okay, so most specific, mesothelioma, most sensitive, most common, if I ask you, most common tumor associated with asbestos exposure? Yes, as all of you are writing, it is adenocarcinoma lung. What are the other tumors? One obviously is RCC, which is renal cell carcinoma. What are the other tumors? Anyone who's attended the previous sessions? What are the other tumors that asbestos can produce? Here somewhere. Yes, very nice. Colon, not prostate, colon, stomach. All right, colon, stomach, and larynx. Okay, colon, stomach, and larynx. Is this clear? Guys who are joining in, a lot of people are joining in now. All right, so we are discussing renal cell cancers. All right, we have seen that the typical triad is seen in less than 10%. 30% will present with metastatic disease. There's a higher risk with asbestos exposure. Okay, and we have done all the tumors which are associated with asbestosis. More common in males. Is this a true statement for RCC? Yes, this is a true statement. All right, remember, a tumor which is more commonly associated with males. Most common will be hematuria. All right, the most common presentation will be with hematuria alone and not the triad. Okay, and clear cell RCC has a poorer prognosis than papillary and chromophobe. Is this true? Yes, it is true. If I ask you two one-liners, which is the tumor, which is the histopathological type of RCC which has the best prognosis, what will be your answer? Papillary or something else? Any other opinion? All of you are saying papillary. It is chromophobe. Remember, the best prognosis is associated with chromophobe RCC. Okay? If I ask you the worst prognosis, is it clear cell RCC? Is it clear cell RCC? Very nice, Shiva. It is actually our Berlin ducts. All right, so your collecting duct of Berlin have the poorest prognosis. All right, so collecting duct of Bellini will have the poorest prognosis. I will tell you all of the following types. Right now I'm just giving you the one-liners. Okay, so abhi kar lete hain. There are a lot of pathological types of RCC. To be precise, there are 6 types that we need to know of. All right, so those of you joining in Lakshay KH, we have just begun with RCC. Okay, so 3 most important types we need to know everything about will be what types? Will be clear cell. Okay, RCC, renal cell cancer. Okay, everybody on the same page now? We are talking about renal cell cancers and we are now going into the depths of this. So now don't ask me what is RCC. Okay, so we are starting with clear cell renal cell carcinoma, which is the most common type. So first one line are done, the most common pathological type, clear cell RCC. What are the other important types I need to know? The one which were in the option, the papillary type and the chromophobe type. What is the one-liner we learnt about chromophobe RCC? It was that it has the best prognosis, correct? It has the best prognosis. So these are the 3 we need to know in detail. There are 3 others which I just need to know superficially, which I will get to. All right, so before that, let's go into the things that we need to know in detail of. All right, so let's start with clear cell RCC with an MCQ. All right, so just attempt this with any baseline knowledge that you have. Try and exclude the options. All right, try and exclude the options. One of it I've already told you. Amazing. So red cell, Girish, Srigiri have given the quickest answers here. So has Mohit and Shiva. Okay, good. So I'm seeing that almost 40% have given the correct answer so far. Okay, cool. All right, so let's learn about these in detail. All right, so these MCQs are just to show you what kind of questions can come from each type. All right, so now let's learn about clear cell RCC in detail. Okay, so the name itself says that there are clear cells. Pathologically, when we see, they are clear cells, they're empty looking cells, can I say? And are they clear cells containing glycogen and fat? Yes, it is a true statement. All right. So remember, they are clear because there is glycogen and fat inside it, which gives them the empty appearance, empty looking appearance. So first pathological feature done, it has clear cell, as the name suggests, filled with glycogen and fat. Each of these are your one-liners, which are very, very important. Okay. Most common RCC. This we just saw. This is definitely true. All right. Most common RCC. Is it a homogeneous, well-defined tumor? No. Remember, what did we learn? That after you're collecting duct-wala tumor, the poorer prognosis is associated with clear cell RCC. Okay, so remember, it is the most common and it has a poor prognosis. Okay, so it cannot be homogeneous, well-defined. Remember, the tumors and the phrases which we associate with aggressive tumors will be heterogeneous. Can you understand this term? It will not be smooth, well-defined, homogeneous. Whenever we're talking about an aggressive lesion, remember, look out for these words. Yes, spiculated margins, ill-defined, heterogeneous. Can you all, understand this concept? Remember this throughout all the three classes that we will see today. PAN class, you will see all tumors which are aggressive, which are malignant, will be heterogeneous, will be ill-defined, will have these spiculated margins. Correct? So anytime we are talking about this, the examiner is trying to tell you about a good prognosis tumor. Making sense? So if I'm talking about papillary RCC, can I say it is a homogeneous, well-defined tumor? Yes, I can. All right. So remember it that way. All right. Remember as a general rule that this is how the tumors work. Associated with VHL. Is it associated with VHL? Definitely yes. Can you tell me the chromosome associated with VHL, guys? Very nice. So it is the 3P, and remember VHL will have multiple renal cysts and it will have clear cell RCC. Okay, I will tell you all the inheritance, all the familial tumors, because that is one of the most tested points. All right. Yes, very nice, Siddhant. VHL is your von Hippel-Lindau syndrome. All right. I will talk about this in detail. I will tell you the other manifestations also. So von Hippel-Lindau syndrome is a neurocutaneous syndrome. Okay. So that is what we will talk about. Now let's quickly see all the salient features of clear cell RCC. Can somebody tell me, is this a CCT, NCCT, or an MRI? Can you tell me? Or an X-ray or a PET scan? Very good. So indeed, this is C. Do you all recognize these basic things? We look at the kidney and we know that it is a enhancing mass. All right, more than 50 HU. So Shubham, basically the rule is in the kidneys, we have a lot of cysts, correct? We have a lot of cysts and we have a lot of solid masses. So the rule basically to distinguish a cyst from a solid mass is by looking at the enhancement. So the rule that you are saying that more than 15 HU, basically, it is suggestive of any solid mass. Basically, you can say that anything which shows an enhancement more than 15 Hounsfield units is taking up contrast. Can I say that? So basically, it's a feature of a solid mass. Okay, not diagnostic of RCC, but you can say that if it is taking more than 15 HU addition, that means it is not a cyst. That would be a better statement. Are you understanding? Okay. So here what you all said correctly, this is a contrast enhanced CT. Can you tell me where is the RCC? Right kidney or left kidney? Can you tell me where do you see the mass? Very good. So all of you can appreciate this asymmetry. There is a large ball type of a lesion. There is a bulge here that is coming out. So this is our mass. Can you tell me, is it homogeneous or heterogeneous? Just looking at it, can you tell me it looks homogeneous or heterogeneous? Very good. So all of you are understanding these phrases, these technical terms. Very nice. So this is a heterogeneous tumor. So whenever we look at such a heterogeneous tumor, guys, straight away on radiology, we have to start thinking of clear cell RCC. Yes, left kidney is perfectly normal. All right, this is perfectly normal. It's an axial section. All right, so it's normal completely. You have any doubt anywhere? There is no all right, there's no doubt here. It's a completely normal kidney. Okay. So radiologically, we will see a heterogeneous mass with cystic changes. Necrosis. When I say cystic changes, it means underlying necrosis that appears like a cyst. All right. So this is clear heterogeneous large mass associated with clear cell RCC. And as who said? Yeah, as somebody said, more than 15 HU, it will show a lot of enhancement. All right, it will show avid enhancement. Again, the term avid we use in PET, correct? FDG avid, I call it. So anytime there is a lot of enhancement, we call it avid enhancement or very high enhancement. Okay, so remember, high enhancing, heterogeneous tumor, a bell should ring in your mind. We're talking about the tumor with worse prognosis, all right, and the commoner one, which is clear cell RCC. And we just saw it is associated with the VHL gene on the 3p chromosome. On the pathology specimen, integrating a patho here, can you all appreciate these clear cells, guys? Can you all see the majority of the cells look so empty, look so clear? So that is how we can recognize now on radiology also, on pathology also, what this variant of RCC, basically this subtype of RCC, which is our clear cell RCC, will look. And what will be contained inside these empty cells, guys? What are the two things which it will contain? It will have, very good, it will have glycogen, it will have lipid. All right, so remember glycogen and lipid. Tell me two renal tumors out of every, all renal tumors included, which have fat, which have lipid. Two renal tumors which have lipid, one which has a lot of lipid. Very nice, guys, amazing. So one is our angiomyolipoma. Those of you are juniors, angiomyolipoma. The name itself says it has fat in it. It has fat in it. It's associated with tuberous sclerosis. Amazing. And it is actually a hematomatous lesion. Correct? So this is our angiomyolipoma. And the other one, can I say it is the clear cell RCC? It is the clear cell RCC. Now, how do we distinguish? Can I say that in clear cell RCC, there is only microscopic fat? I am not seeing fat radiologically. But AML, I am radiologically seeing fat. There is macroscopic fat. Can you all understand this difference? When I say macroscopic fat and microscopic fat, you have all seen angiomyolipoma. I have shown you. I will show you today also. It appears black, correct? It appears like your fat HU. Very nice. So remember this important difference. Microscopic fat, I'm talking about clear cell RCC. We have just seen it is clear, glycogen, lipid. But macroscopic fat, grossly, radiologists can only say it has fat. It is angiomyolipoma. Very nice, guys. Very nice. Okay. So this was about clear cell. So what are all the things we need to know about clear cell? Pathologically, they have clear cell. What mutation? I look at VHL mutation on 3p. There will be higher risk of RCC. Very nice. What else do I see radiologically? It has a poor prognosis. It will be a heterogeneous mass. Okay, so these are our learnings from clear cell RCC. Now let's go to the second most common type, which is our papillary RCC. Okay, which is our papillary RCC. So let's put our knowledge to use and then we will learn something about this. Amazing. So Balaji, Kishore, Dr. S have given the correct answer. Be happy. Siddhant also. Good, guys. Good. Okay, I see almost 50% have cracked it. Very nice, guys. So this is something we just learned, correct? Where did we learn a hyper-enhancing heterogeneous mass? What was this a property of that we just saw? Correct? Did we just see that clear cell RCC has hyper enhancement, shows avid enhancement in this heterogeneous? What did I tell you about papillary RCC? Does it have a better prognosis than clear cell, guys? Does it have a better prognosis? Yes. In our first MCQ, we had seen that papillary chromophobe, they are good tumors. They have happy prognosis. So remember, like all happy prognosis valid tumors, it will again be how? Can you tell me it will be homogeneous or heterogeneous? What it will be? It will be homogeneous, correct? It will be homogeneous. So like all well-defined and good prognosis tumors, this will be a homogeneous tumor. Making sense? Then what about Psammoma bodies? Where was the tumor where we saw Psammoma bodies in my class? Which class have I told you about Psammoma bodies, guys? Very nice. We have talked about it in meningioma. Which other tumor have we talked about today only, which also shows Psammoma bodies? Abhi baat kiya tha first MCQ pe, which also shows Psammoma bodies, which was that tumor associated with asbestos exposure, Yaad karo, today only we have talked about it, starting with M. Yes, so mesothelioma. And as all of you are correctly saying, everywhere I have papillary CA, it will show us Psammoma body. So papillary CA thyroid, papillary CA of ovary, papillary CA of the kidney, we will get Psammoma bodies. Is this clear? Is this clear to everybody? So all the tumors which show Psammoma bodies, we've done it multiple times. So meningioma, mesothelioma, papillary RCC. Meningioma, what is the sign that I will see on DSA? On DSA, what sign do I see? That it goes like this. What is this sign called? ठीक है, we see dural tail on MRI. We see dural tail on MRI. Yes, this is the spoke wheel sign. This is the spoke wheel sign, correct? And yes, we also see the mother-in-law phenomenon. Mother-in-law phenomenon. Today, I will tell you multiple places where we are going to look at the spoke wheel pattern. All right, multiple places today we are going to talk about spoke wheel. We'll get to it when we get to it. Okay, so this is papillary RCC. It is a homogeneous mass. So obviously our A is the wrong statement here. Shows Samoma bodies. We agree. Is it associated with long-standing dialysis? Is long-standing dialysis a risk factor for RCC? Yes. And that RCC, again, a one-liner. The RCC associated with long-standing dialysis will be our papillary RCC. Making sense? Remember this very, very important previous year question. Multiple tumors associated with c-Met gene mutation. Is this true? This is a true statement. All right. So as we saw VHL with clear cell, here I have c-Met, which is associated with multiple papillary RCC. Tell me two other mutations, guys. Very nice, guys. Tell me two other mutations that are associated. One, you are saying trisomy 7. Can I say trisomy 7? Why with dialysis? It is something which is seen, all right? Because of repeated insult, that is something which is observed. I mean, there's no cause which is there. It's just something that has been observed. Yes, trisomy 7, trisomy 17. Very good. What else? Loss of which chromosome? Amazing, Sudha. So remember these two, trisomy 7, 17 and loss of Y chromosome. All right. After this, I will tell you one syndrome also. Samoma body is not seen in clear cell, seen in papillary RCC. Okay? All papillary RCC will show Samoma bodies. Okay? After that, I will tell you one more syndrome which is associated with this. A lot of you are saying papillary RCC type 1. So all of this is papillary RCC type 1. Papillary RCC type 2 is associated with something else which is called what? Can somebody tell me? Very nice, Sudha. Amazing. So it is associated with something which is called HL-RCC. HL plus RCC is how you can remember. So what does the L stand for? What does the L stand for here, guys? It stands for multiple leiomyomatosis. All right, remember, what is the most common site in the body of a female, guys, where you hear the term leiomyoma? It is our uterine leiomyomas, correct? So remember, this syndrome will have multiple uterine leiomyomas. It will have multiple skin leiomyomas. Okay, multiple skin leiomyomas. Okay, H for hereditary. All right, so hereditary leiomyomatosis plus RCC. And which kind of RCC? Again, our papillary RCC. Making sense, guys? So two syndromes we have learned so far. VHL for clear cell RCC. For papillary RCC, this is our HL RCC, where I have multiple leiomyomas and then I have papillary RCC. And as Sudha is saying perfectly, it is associated with mutation of the fumarate hydratase gene. All right, fumarate hydratase gene. Okay, is this clear? Do all RCC have cyst and necrosis? No. So as I told you, cyst and necrosis is what makes something heterogeneous. Correct? That is what makes something heterogeneous. So cyst and necrosis, more common with which? Now you tell me which RCC will have more cyst and more necrosis? Which type? You will answer the question now. It is our clear cell, correct? In clear cell we had seen, yes. Whereas papillary RCC, remember, it will be homogeneous. Can you all appreciate this lesion, guys? Can I call this homogeneous? Do you agree this is homogeneous? Such a single shade of gray we are seeing, correct? So this is a homogeneous tumor, which is our papillary RCC. All right, it is homogeneous. So in contrast to clear cell, now we are seeing a homogeneous mass. Okay, understanding the difference. And in contrast to this avid enhancement, a lot of enhancement here, there will be very, very little enhancement. Can you see? Compared to the kidney itself, if you compare the color, how white this is and how black this is. Can I say it is not enhancing at all? Correct? It is enhancing very, very minimally. Agreed? So two features in contrast to clear cell. And on histopath, guys, what are we seeing? Can you see all of these papillary projections? It is growing like a papillary growth, whereas a clear cell was a homogeneous growth with clear cell. So these papillae, remember this image, these papillae are associated with our papillary RCC. And what other feature? The other feature we learned was a Samoma body. All right, don't worry about the syndromes, guys. In the end, I have a table where we'll fill all these syndromes and it'll be very, very clear to you. Okay, so don't worry about if you've not followed leiomyomatosis. We're going to talk about it again. Okay, so is this clear? Radiological feature, homogeneous hypoenhancing mass. Pathologically, 2 features, papillary projections and Samoma bodies, 2 Ps. Okay, is this clear? And the mutations we have just seen, c-Met mutation, which is a proto-oncogene, will get activated. There'll be trisomy 717 and there'll be loss of Y. Okay, is this clear? So papillary done, clear cell done. Now, what was the third tumor, which was very important? What was the third tumor? Try and remember. What was the one which is left? Very nice. Chromophobe. What is the one-liner we learned about chromophobe, guys? Does it have the worst prognosis, best prognosis, most common? Very good. It has the best prognosis. Very nice. So let's do this MCQ on chromophobe now, and then we'll learn more about it. Very nice. So Girish, Mahinder, again one more Girish, Bhavna, Akanksha have given the correct answer very, very quickly. Okay, so I see almost 60% have given the correct answer. So good. Okay, so let's learn everything about chromophobe RCC. Screen not visible only to Ashmita or everybody else? Is it visible to everybody else, guys? Ashmita, ek baar refresh karo and come back. It might be visible then. Just refresh and close your screen and then come back. So all of the following are true about chromophobe RCC except associated with Birt-Hogg-Dube syndrome. Is this true? So one more syndrome comes into play. We saw VHL, we saw the leiomyomatosis. Now we have the third syndrome which is coming into play. So this is a true statement. Remember, Birt-Hogg-Dube, I will talk about this in detail. It has a mutation of which gene? Let's quickly recap and then we'll add it to the table. Very nice, Red Cell. It is associated with folliculin gene mutation. It is associated with folliculin gene mutation. Associated on which chromosome? Chromosome 17. Not very important, but just remember chromosome 17 there is folliculin gene. Alright, and folliculin gene basically what it will do is it will produce multiple follicular lesions. Alright, can you imagine this? Name itself says folliculin. So around the hair follicles, there are these tiny lesions that you will see here. Alright, so you will see multiple follicular lesions on the skin. Alright, apart from that, what is the other third feature? Anybody can tell me? Hi, Vendan, welcome to class. What is the third feature that we see in the lungs? Amazing, Sudha. We see multiple lung cysts. Alright, so remember the triad of Birt-Hogg-Dube name itself has 3 things. So again, features also 3. Skin lesions, follicular lesions, lung cysts, and chromophobe RCC. Again, we will consolidate this. Those of you finding this very, very new, all right. But for now, just remember this. And yes, very nice, Mahinder. Because of these lung cysts, they have a tendency to rupture. That is why we have pneumothorax. Does something else come to mind, guys? Lung cysts, as Sudha is correctly saying. What is the other tumor, that other syndrome that we have just learned, which also has lung cysts and which will also produce pneumothorax and also has a renal lesion? Also has a renal lesion. What am I talking about? Not LCH. LCH also has lung cysts. Very good. Yes, I'm talking about tuberous sclerosis. Kuch yaad aa raha hai? Tuberous sclerosis, multiple manifestations. It has what lung cyst? It has lymphangioliomyomatosis. Correct. Very, very big names with TSC. Lymphangioliomyomatosis. इसी को घुमा दो, क्या बन जाएगा? AML ban jayega. So remember, LAM, AML, both of these are features of TSC and both of these can produce pneumothorax. So you see how everything is coming together. So LAM, AML, pneumothorax. Again, we go to one RCC, chromophobe RCC, which has the Birt-Hogg-Dube, which also produces lung cysts and pneumothorax. Is it becoming too much, guys? Are you all following the train of thought? I am telling you, we will consolidate this in the end. Okay, we'll consolidate this again. Let me quickly recap. So chromophobe RCC ke saath, there is a syndrome which is called Birt-Hogg-Dube. It is a syndrome which is because of mutation in the folliculin gene. All right, because of the name only, folliculin gene, it produces skin lesions, which are these follicular lesions. All right, around the skin, there are these tiny acneiform lesions which are there. Okay, then the other feature, lung cysts, which can produce pneumothorax. And the third feature, obviously, chromophobe RCC. So this is the triad. All right, is this clear? Birt-Hogg-Dube, clear to everybody? Chicken. Best prognosis. Is this true or false? Does chromophobe RCC have the best prognosis? Definitely true. We have just learned that this is a true statement. Arises from the PCT. Is this true, guys? Is this true? Yes, very nice, Sudha. Amazing. So it is a false statement. Remember, it arises from the intercalated cells of collecting duct. All right, very important statement. Intercalated cells of collecting duct. All right, so remember this. Yes. So remember our first two, clear cell, papillary. They arise from the PCT, whereas the ones that we will now see will arise from intercalated cells of collecting duct. And remember, whenever I talk about chromophobe, oncocytoma and chromophobe RCC go hand in hand. All right, they go hand in hand. Everything that I will speak for the chromophobe RCC will be true for oncocytoma also. Please keep this in your mind. All right, both of them go very, very hand in hand, and this becomes like a pre-malignant lesion, and only histologically they can be distinguished. Even pathologically, there is a lot of struggle in distinguishing the two. All right, so remember this, both of them, although this is a benign lesion and it gives rise to chromophobe, they go, all the features radiologically, pathologically are the same. Okay, so we will not be studying this. When I study this, I have already studied oncocytoma also. Is this clear? So everything will be same. Very nice, Shubham. It will present as a stellate, central stellate scar. Very nice, central stellate scar. What liver tumor? Let's talk about stellate scar now. What liver tumor will produce a stellate scar, guys? Amazing. So it is our fibrous nodular hyperplasia in the liver, which also gives rise to a stellate scar. Amazing. So this we will study at 9 o'clock. All right. The other one that we have just seen is our oncocytoma or our chromophobe RCC. All right, so two tumors done. Very nice. One more liver tumor is the fibrolamellar HCC. Correct, fibrolamellar HCC. Both of these, how to distinguish, we will learn today itself. All right, so three things done. Now tell me, what is the other thing in the breast which has a central scar, which produces a spiculated margin? Very nice. So we have something which is called radial scar pathologically. All right, remember, this is, although this is not a malignancy, radial scar will be associated with a very, very malignant looking appearance on mammography. So as Shivani correctly said, speculated sunte malignancy. Remember, this is one exception. Radial scar is one exception, which is actually not a malignancy, but will produce a very, very malignant looking appearance. Okay, understood? Very nice, Shubham. One more thing we had learned in pancreas just a few days back will be our serous cyst adenoma of pancreas, seen in the head, body, tail. Where more commonly? Head, body, tail. Very nice. Seen in the head. Will it be in the grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, daughter? Very nice. Very nice. Seen in grandmother lesion. Can the center have calcification or will the periphery have calcification? Where will the calcification be seen here? Peripheral? No, it will be in the center. कौन से में peripheral होगा? It is mucinous. ठीक है, mucinous में peripheral होगा, serous में central होगा. Now, let me take back to one more syndrome. What is the syndrome we have done today only, in which serous cyst adenoma will be more common? Again, done today only, which syndrome will have serous cyst adenoma to be very, very common. Very nice, Sudha. So remember, again, we go back to VHL. It has multiple serous cyst adenomas. All of these syndromes are very, very confusing. I have done one class, all right, on syndromes, on urocutaneous. Please see it again. It becomes very confusing, I understand. But once we keep revising, it will become much better. Okay. So this is about our stellate things. Now going to the pathology. Resin nucleus with perinuclear halo. Is this true or false? This is again true. All right. So a few very, very important pathological appearances, guys, we will learn now. Okay, so let's learn everything about chromophobe RCC. Okay. All right, so we've done clear, we've done papillary. So Vikas Manash, who's just joining in, we have discussed clear cell, papillary cell. Quickly recapitulating, clear cell, bad prognosis, heterogeneous tumor, shows a lot of enhancement associated with VHL. Papillary, on the other hand, very good prognosis, so homogeneous, very minimal enhancement, and these are the mutations. MET gene, trisomy 717, loss of Y. Everybody on the same page? Now we are on to chromophobe RCC. Again, it is a well-defined homogeneous mass, correct? It has a best prognosis out of all the RCCs. And what do I see here, guys? Right is abnormal, left is abnormal. What do you think? Which kidney has the oncocytoma here? Very good. So right kidney has the mass here. Again, can you see a very well-defined mass? And what is the hallmark here? What makes me say this is either an oncocytoma or a chromophobe RCC? Can you all appreciate this central scar, guys? Can you all appreciate this central striate scar? So this is how it will appear. And see the beautiful rad path correlation. Once you take this out, can you all appreciate this central scar? What color is this typically described as? Very, very typical. One more question saw it. We see what color is this tumor, guys? Yes, it is the mahogany brown. All right, predominantly to brown lag raha hai. So mahogany brown color is the typical question that they ask you. So now you have seen it, you will always remember. So remember this central striate scar. See how beautifully it correlates. All right. So what do we see? Again, we hear the term spoke wheel or the central striate scar. Any of the terms we can use. So remember spoke wheel enhancement or your central striate scar, which is not enhancing. Okay. And follicular gene, which syndrome? Birt-Hogg-Dube. All right. Birt-Hogg-Dube is done now. And now we go on to the histological features. Very, very important. Multiple questions. Okay. So again, focus on these cells, guys. Focus on these cells. Can you tell me that the cell wall, all right, or the boundary of the cell, it's very, very well demarcated. Can you all see this? Very well demarcated cell membrane. Very nice. So this gives resemble to plant cells, all right, your plant cells. So that is why this is called the plant cell tumor. All right, so this is why it has been likened to plant cell. So first P sorted. Very nice, Mahendra. The second P I was just going to tell you is a perinuclear halo. There will be a halo around the nucleus. All right, see. So there is a halo around the nucleus which will be seen. Okay, apart from that, what does the nucleus look like, guys? What does the nucleus look like? Can you see it is so oblong? It is so oblong in certain places. Looks like a raisin. Yes, so many things you have to remember for chromophobe. All one-liners. Plant cell ho gaya. P for perinuclear halo ho gaya. Sound is not clear. Again for just Shashank, I think just close and come back, refresh and come back, it will be fine. All right. Okay. Plant cell means like in our biology, we used to study the plant cell. All right. They have a very, very well-defined border. All right. So that is what is plant cell. Okay. Baller lover. Are you Shiva Shankar? I think you are Shiva Shankar. From your questions, I can know. Okay. So this is plant cell. This is perinuclear halo. All right. And the other feature, guys, will be a raisin-like nucleus. Will be a raisin-like nucleus. Okay. Is this clear? Is this clear? I think even Balaji and Sudha can now recognize Shiva Shankar from all the classes that they've attended, correct? Okay. So plant cell, perinuclear halo, raisin-like nucleus. 3 features sorted, guys. Now tell me one more one-liner. What is the stain? What is that pathological stain which will show uptake here? Which will show the staining of this tumor? Anyone? Not pass? It will be yes. Very nice. Hale colloidal iron stain. All right. Hale colloidal iron stain will be showing staining here. Is this clear, guys? So many one-liners we are doing at the same time. All right. So is this clear to everybody? Are you all understanding? Plant cell, perinuclear halo, raisin-like nucleus and Hale colloidal iron stain. ठीक है, तो ये सारे features है chromophobe के. Now I told you we have 3 tumors which are important, which we need to know in detail about. So all the details of the 3 important tumors are done. There are other 3 tumors which you only need to know one line about, which we will fill up. Okay, so collecting duct of Bernoulli. Tell me what is the feature. Yes, the only one line I need to know is it has the worst prognosis. It has the worst prognosis. One more feature if I ask you pathologically. Yes, Shubham. Amazing. That is exactly what I was going to ask. It shows the hobnail pattern of growth. All right, just one line. Remember, hobnail pattern of growth, worst prognosis. Okay. The one line about medullary RCC. These are all very rare. Okay, very rare. So only specific things we need to know about it. All right. So yes, it is associated with sickle cell trait. It is associated with sickle cell trait. All right, is this clear? Hobnail, what does it mean? It's based on a bird. All right, it's based on a bird. It grows like that. Exactly, even I don't know. So it is the word that you have to remember, which is hobnail. It grows like that. Okay, so worst prognosis, hobnail, medullary, sickle cell में ज़्यादा होगा. What about translocation RCC? Very, very important. It is seen in pediatrics. So if they ask you, very nice, if they ask you what is the most common type of pediatric RCC, our answer will be XP11.2 translocation RCC. Very, very important. So is this clear, guys? Is this clear to everybody? Now let's quickly do all the one-liners, revise this, and then we move on to the important syndromes. Okay? Tell me, folliculin gene is associated with which RCC? Folliculin gene, which type of RCC? Very nice. So chromophobe RCC. Which RCC will be most heterogeneous and most necrosis will be seen? Which RCC will have most necrosis? Very nice. It will be clear cell. Okay, Shivashankar, not papillary. Remember, papillary good. All right. Because of that good, it will be homogeneous. Is that clear? So yes, Berlini also and clear cell. Both of them have aggressive looking appearance, but most common is clear cell. So we need to know about that. All right. Which tumor will have? Yes, definitely. In pediatrics, most common is definitely Wilms tumor. But if an RCC comes in the pediatric age group, it will be the translocation RCC. Okay, if they ask you, can a renal cell cancer occur in children? Answer is yes. It will be the translocation RCC. All of these will be seen in adults. All right, more common in males, somewhere around 50s. Okay, is this clear? All right. Now tell me which is the one RCC which is associated with loss of Y chromosome. Loss of Y chromosome. Which RCC? Very nice. Papillary RCC. Which RCC will have a plant-like appearance pathologically? Plant-like appearance pathologically. Very nice. It is our chromophobe RCC. Which RCC will have a glycogen and microscopic lipid? Glycogen and microscopic lipid inside it. Very good. It will be our clear cell RCC. Which RCC will have multiple leiomyomas associated with it? Multiple leiomyomatosis associated with it. Very nice. It is our papillary RCC. It is our papillary RCC. Okay. With this background, now let's quickly do all the syndromes. All right. Let's quickly learn all the syndromes. I will show you figures. I will show you a collage of images. You will diagnose both and tell me the diagnosis. First, look at this. CT, MRI, DSA. What do you think this is? What image is this? CC. All right. CCT. Amazing. What are we seeing here? What are we seeing here? We are seeing amazing. We are seeing a cerebellar hemangioblastoma. Can you all agree? What is the typical description, guys? Great, Balaji. That is what I was looking for. Can you all appreciate a cyst with mural nodule, guys? Can you all appreciate a cyst with mural nodule? Remember, where do I see this in children, guys? Where do I see the cyst with mural nodule in children in the same location? Not ependymoma, Anisha, not ependymoma. Yaad karo, most common benign tumor. Yes, it is our pilocytic astrocytoma, correct? Amazing. It is our pilocytic astrocytoma. So the two tumors, remember I told you same appearance. Agar bachcha hai, pilocytic astrocytoma. If adult, I'm talking about cerebellar hemangioblastoma. ठीक है. And if I add this to this, what is this pathological type, guys? What is this pathological RCC? Heterogeneous, large. Amazing. So clear cell RCC. When we add these two, what is our result, guys? Cerebellar hemangioblastoma, clear cell RCC. Amazing. We are talking about VHL. Which chromosome? Which chromosome? It is R3P. Very nice. It is R3P. What are the other features that we will see in VHL, guys? Let's quickly note this down before we go anywhere else. So let's quickly write this table for VHL and then we go to the others. So 3P, agree. Which RCC type in VHL, guys? Which RCC type? It is our clear cell, correct? It is our clear cell RCC. Associations में क्या लिखेंगे? We will write multiple hemangioblastomas. Tell me the three places where I can have hemangioblastomas. एक तो हो गया cerebellum. What else? Where else can I have? Very good. It can be in spinal cord and it can be in retina. Amazing. So three places where we have hemangioblastoma. What else? What else can occur, guys? What did we just saw? Very nice. We can have multiple pancreatic cysts. Where else did we see a central stellate scar in the pancreas itself? What did we see? We had what? We had serous cyst adenoma, correct? Yaad aa raha hai? Serous cyst adenoma, good. Apart from that, what else can we have? Can I say we can have multiple renal cysts? We can have multiple renal cysts. I can have multiple neuroendocrine tumors in the pancreas. All right, and as Mahinder is correctly saying, there can be epididymal cyst also. Yes, very important. We can have pheo also. Pheochromocytoma can also be seen. Okay, so no place left, but all of these tumors. Amazing, Mahinder. Great. We can also see the endolymphatic sac tumor. All right, ELST, endolymphatic sac tumor. All of these are associations of VHL. Do you want me to write them down neatly? Do you all remember this, guys? It's fine. All right, so let's quickly note them down. So brain में क्या क्या मिल रहा था? We had multiple hemangioblastomas, correct? So cerebellum, retina, and spinal cord. The other tumor in the CNS, remember, endolymphatic sac tumor, which will be seen where? It will be seen in the inner ear, correct? It will be seen in the inner ear. Name itself says endolymphatic sac will come out from the inner ear and produce a tumor there. What else do we see in the abdomen? I see pheochromocytoma. Then three things in pancreas. ठीक है, pancreas के बारे में remember three things. I will see cysts, I will see serous cyst adenoma, I will see neuroendocrine tumors. All right. Then coming to the kidney, what do we see? We see multiple cysts. And what do we see? We see the clear cell RCC. Apart from that, where else can there be cyst? There can be cyst in the epididymis, epididymal cyst, the female counterpart of this broad ligament cyst. All right, so both of these again can be feature cysts or cyst adenomas. Okay, so broad ligament cyst adenoma, epididymal cyst adenoma. Is this clear? All the features of VHL, guys. Are you all trying and recalling this? Okay, good. So this was about this. Now let me show you the second figure. We are done with VHL, giving you three figures. Tell me the diagnosis in total, and then we go through each of them. Amazing, guys. Very nice. So we are talking about tuberous sclerosis. What is this which gave it away? What is this, guys? What is the diagnosis here? This is our adenoma sebaceum, correct? Acneiform lesions, adenoma sebaceum. What am I seeing here in this CT? What are these white things, guys? Calcified subependymal nodules, correct? Can I say subependymal nodules, not ependymoma? Subependymal nodules. And if I see something at the foramen of Monro, it will become our SEGA. It will become our subependymal giant cell astrocytoma. WHO grade, guys. WHO grade of SEGA. Very nice. It is our grade 1 tumor, correct? Just like pilocytic astrocytoma, this is also WHO grade 1. Very nice. Now, tell me NCCT, CCT, MRI, what is this image that is showing? Amazing. So this is indeed a CCT. I'm so proud of you all. You are able to diagnose AML. So now does it make sense? Macroscopic fat that I was telling you, it looks like the subcutaneous fat. Correct? Anything which is black, I start thinking of air-containing lesion. I start thinking of fat-containing lesion. So can you see how black it is? And can you see all of these white areas inside it? So you know it is made up of three things, correct? Angio, myo, and lipoma. So the white things will be contributed by the vessels and by the muscles. All right. And sometimes, remember, in AML, the vessels can become so large. Very nice. They can become so large that they produce perinephric bleed. And what is that syndrome? What is that syndrome called where there is bleed into perinephric and retroperitoneum? Amazing. It is called the Wunderlich syndrome. It is called the Wunderlich syndrome. Amazing. And what are the indications of angiomyolipoma? Is it a pre-malignant lesion? Can it turn malignant? Can it turn malignant? No. Very nice. So it is not a pre-malignant lesion, but the biggest complication is bleeding, correct? The biggest complication is bleeding. So indication of surgery, indication of removal of AML will be two. When either the vessels become very large or the mass becomes very large such that there is a higher risk of bleeding. Amazing. So size more than 4 centimeter and any vessel which becomes very dilated to become more than 1.5 centimeters. Remember these two numbers. A vessel size inside the tumor which is so large, 1.5 centimeter, or a mass which is more than 4 centimeters. Is this clear? Yes. This either becomes an indication of removing it or doing an angioembolization. Amazing, right? Shubham and Mahinder, amazing answers. Okay, keep it up. So, all sorted about tuberous sclerosis. Let's quickly revise the manifestations of TSC also. Lage haath ye kar lete hain. Tell me the chromosomes, guys. Tell me the chromosome of TSC. Isko to hum table mein bhar lenge. Tell me the chromosome of TSC. Very nice. 9 and 16. What are the mutations? What are the mutations associated with this? Which gene or protein? It will be tuberin and hamartin, correct? Tuberin and hamartin. Now, if I ask you, tuberin and hamartin are in what pathway basically? इनका end result क्या है, guys? इनका end result है mTOR pathway. Can I say they are part of the mTOR pathway? And mTOR pathway becomes very, very upregulated. Why am I talking about mTOR? Because is there any drug which we can give for AML, guys? We can do angioembolization, but is there any drug which is helpful? Very nice. So rapamycin as such we don't give, but what is that drug? It is what basically derivative? Very nice. It is everolimus. All right. So everolimus, temsirolimus, all of this limus जिसमें आता है, all right, limus जिसमें आता है, these are all mTOR inhibitors. So remember, whenever they ask you any of the features of TSC and they ask you about the drug, always start thinking of mTOR inhibitors. Okay, extra edge feature, nobody except you will be able to answer this. All right, very, very important. Okay, so now let's look at the manifestations. Tell me the CNS manifestations. एक तो हमने देख लिया सब ependymal nodules, एक हमने देख लिया SEGA. Tell me what else do I see in TSC? What else do we see? Yes, amazing. We see our cortical tubers. We see cortical tubers. And what else? Amazing, Anisha. A minor criteria will be radial white matter lines. Radial white matter lines, which is a minor criteria. All of these are major criteria. ठीक है. Quickly बताओ skin lesions. एक तो हो गया adenoma sebaceum. What else? What else will we see? Yes, very nice. Shagreen patches in the lower lumbar area. Ash leaf macules. What examination derma-wise will reveal more ash leaf macules? What will I do to make them more prominent? Very nice. We will do a Woodlands examination, which will make these even more apparent. Amazing. Conan's tumor, amazing. Periungual fibromas will be our Conan lesions. Okay. All right. What else do we see here? In the kidney, I will see renal AML. AML को rearrange करने से lung में क्या मिल जाएगा? What will we see in the lung? We will see LAM, correct? We rearrange AML to form lymphangioliomyomatosis. Again, there will be cysts, which will produce pneumothorax, which can produce pneumothorax. Correct? Very nice. Apart from that, in the kidney, again, I will see renal cysts. I will see renal AML. And remember, TSC can also produce RCC. It can also produce clear cell RCC independently. Okay, even RCC. Amazing, Mahinder. Okay, so all of these are features of angioliomyomatosis. Are tuberous sclerosis. What is the name of the triad? The typical triad, epiloia. What is the name of this triad? What do we call this? This is the Vaux triad, correct? This is the Vaux triad, which has epilepsy, low IQ, and adenoma sebaceum, correct? Is this clear to everybody? So TSC sorted for everyone? Where were we? Yes, also called as Bonneville syndrome. Amazing. Okay, so TSC ho gaya. Let's look at the third image collage. And we will look at it one by one. Where is the lesion here? Right, left, and tell me what is the diagnosis. Tell me the diagnosis also. Amazing. So it is a chromophobe RCC or an oncocytoma. Correct? Both of them mean the same to us. Chromophobe RCC, oncocytoma. Lung HRCT. What are we seeing, guys? What are we seeing in the lung HRCT? Very important diagnosis. Yes, we are seeing pneumothorax. Can you all appreciate this blackness outside the pleura, outside the lung? This is our pneumothorax. And can you all appreciate this cyst, guys? Can you all appreciate all of these lung cysts? So these are not LAM, but they are cysts. All right, they are cysts. Is this clear to everybody? So lung cysts with pneumothorax, a tumor with a central stellate car. And what does the skin show? It shows us this fibrofolliculomas. Correct? It shows us this follicular lesions, which are the skin lesions. All right, so we call them fibrofolliculomas or fibrofollicular lesions. Is this clear? Very, very tiny, tiny. Can you see? Looks like, your acneiform lesions basically. So these are all the features of our BHD, Birt-Hogg-Dube syndrome, associated with which gene? Associated with what gene now? Associated with folliculin gene. Okay. So this is clear to everybody. So let's quickly fill up this table here. TSC 916 we have done. So clear cell RCC and angiomyolipoma, and rest of the features we've already revised. Birt-Hogg-Dube, quickly, folliculin gene associated on chromosome 17. It will have the chromophobe RCC, and the other features, the triad we need to remember, lung cyst leading to pneumothorax and skin lesions. ठीक है, ये बताओ, hereditary leiomyomatosis in RCC, which gene did I tell you? Which gene did I tell you? Yes, our fumarate hydratase. All right, so FH gene, which is associated on chromosome 1. Just for additional information, just remember FH. All right, which RCC subtype, guys? Which RCC subtype? Very nice. It will be the papillary RCC. Papillary RCC. Amazing. And what are the other manifestations? As we saw, leiomyomas. Correct. So leiomyomas in the uterus, in the skin, subcutaneous tissue, we will see. Hereditary papillary RCC. Here it is just a type 1. Remember, so trisomy 717, multiple papillary RCC. Amazing. c-Met gene. So this is all that we are going to see. Nothing else here. Okay, so is this table clear, guys? Very, very complicated, but I hope it is now easy for you. So everything we have done about RCC, guys, from everywhere. All right, so your patho, medicine, everything has been covered here. So just keep this handy, keep revising this. It will become, very, very clear. So a lot of syndromes also we have done at the same time. So now let's go to the staging. Okay, so earlier, can you tell me the named staging of RCC that was used that is now completely replaced by TNM staging? पहले क्या use करते थे? Yes, we used to use the Robson staging. All right, but you will see both of them are pretty similar. All right, there's not much difference. So now I want you to remember with me the stage. Okay, so T1. Remember, anything which is less than 7 centimeters. T1, anything which is less than 7 centimeters. That is T1A, T1B, less than 4, 4 to 7. अगर याद रह सकता है तो ठीक है. Otherwise, just remember, anything which is small, restricted to the kidney will be at T1. Making sense? What about T2? Anything which is more than 7, but 7 to more than 10 centimeters. All right, so basically your T2A will be 7 to 10 and T2B will be more than 10 centimeters, but again restricted to the kidneys. All right, so are you all with me so far? We have remembered less than 4, 4 to 7. 7 to 10, more than 10 centimeters. But our T1 and T2 are both going to be what? Restricted, limited to the kidney. Is this clear? Is this clear? So stage 1 bhi ho gaya, stage 2 bhi ho gaya. So T1, T2. All right, is this clear? Are you all with me so far? Then we take it outside the kidney. All right, so what happens in T3 is it is begin to grow into the perinephric tissue. For that, let's briefly understand the anatomy of the kidney. So if this is the kidney, guys, a cross section of the kidney, what will be around the kidney? There will be an anterior perirenal fascia, a posterior perirenal fascia. Tell me what is the eponymous name of the anterior perirenal fascia, guys? Yes, it is the Geroda fascia. Can you tell me the eponymous name of the posterior fascia? Starts with Z. Anyone? What is the name of the posterior perirenal fascia? Very nice. It is the Zucker-Kandel fascia. It is the Zucker-Kandel fascia. All right. So anything which is restricted by the fascia basically will be a perinephric fascia, perinephric space. Correct? Are you all understanding? So T1, T2 may any size but limited to the kidneys. Now once the tumor grows here outside into the perinephric space but not invading the fascia, that will be a T3. Are you all understanding? So it is still within the fascia but growing outside the kidney. Making sense? So this is a T3 tumor. So remember, T3 again has A, B and C. A is when it just goes into the perinephric fascia. B becomes it goes into the IVC. All right, it can go into the renal vein also. Remember, the most common vessel that RCC tends to invade or involve is our renal vein. Remember, not artery, veins. So from the renal vein, can I say that it goes into, if this is the right kidney, can I say it will go into the IVC? If there is a tumor which is growing on like this, it will extend into the IVC. So B becomes IVC and C becomes along the IVC only. It goes into which chamber of the heart? It goes into the RA. So anything below the diaphragm, it is B. Anything above the diaphragm, it becomes C. All right, making sense? So above the diaphragm vein में से वो RA में चला गया. It will be T3. All right, T3C. All right, is this clear? Again, you don't need to know ABC, but just remember, it has not invaded Geroda's fascia. It is in the vein. Okay, making sense? So this is our stage 3. Tumor ingrowth in perinephric tissue, but not beyond Geroda's fascia, or there is tumor thrombus in the vein. Understanding, guys? Is this clear? So stage 3, clear? Stage 4. So obviously, now in stage 4, it is going to grow where? It is going to grow outside the perinephric fascia. And what will it involve? It will also involve our adrenal gland. It will also involve our ipsilateral adrenal gland. Okay, so one question to you. If it involves the contralateral adrenal gland, what stage do I give it? Yes, then it becomes our M1, correct? Then it becomes M1, not T4. Okay, Mahendra? Ipsilateral adrenal, it is T4, but contralateral adrenal, M1. All right, is this clear to everybody? So if you have understood this, Robson's very easy. So stage 1, Robson's 1. Stage 2, Robson's 2. Stage 3, Robson's 3. And stage 4, Robson's 4. All right, so Robson is the same as your TNM staging, exactly like this. All right, is this clear, guys? If I ask you if there is a tumor which is invading the right atrium, T1, T2, T3, T4, what will be your diagnosis? It is going inside the right atrium. Is it a distant metastasis, M1? Very nice. So it will still be T3, all right, and T3C to be very, very precise. Very nice. If I tell you that a tumor is invading into the perinephric space but not going into the Girota's fascia, what will be your diagnosis? Very nice. Still, it will be T3, T3A to be very, very precise. If I ask you if there is a tumor which is 10 centimeter in size but not invading perinephric space, still inside the kidney, what will be your diagnosis? Yes, it will be T2. If I ask you if there is a tumor which is 3 centimeter in size inside the kidney, what will be our staging? It will be T1. Amazing. If there is a lung nodule in addition to RCC, what will be our diagnosis? Lung nodule? T4? No, it will become M, correct? It will become M1 positive. All right. Abhishek, Prep Ladder and Unacademy, kya hoga matlab? Now you will get so much more resource, all right? Everything is coming together, which is actually a nice thing, no? There are fewer things for you to study, everything at the same place. Yeah, that is all I can say. Okay, so now I will show you the figures. You will identify, all right, you will identify and then we will stage also. Now we are becoming pakka radiologists. Okay, we are going into core radio now. So tell me, look at the CECT. I don't even want to ask you the modality because I'm sure you can say. Tell me right kidney, left kidney, where is the mass? First step, right kidney or left kidney? Yes, amazing. So left kidney, can you all see this that I am marking out for you? Can you all identify the heterogeneous tiny tumor? Amazing. Now, if I ask you the size, what does it look grossly? What stage? Is it T1? Is it T2? Is it T3? Is it T4? Very nice. This is indeed T1. This is indeed T1. All right. Very, very small. Correct. Less than 7 centimeters. Okay. Very good, Ashmita. All right. It is not angiomyolipoma because you are not seeing any fat. AML bina kala fat dekhe, you cannot diagnose. Okay. Understood? So this is very nice. You are now staging the tumors based on radiology. Amazing. Okay. Let's see here now. Let's see here. So there is a large mass, but it is not going anywhere. It is just an exophytic mass from the kidney. Okay, it is just going from the kidney. Yes, so it is actually T2. Although it looks like it is going inside the liver, but remember it is just pushing the liver. Okay, it is not invading the perinephric space. All right, so this is a large tumor. Again, a clear cell RCC would be our first differential. It's a T2 tumor. ठीक है, अब ये देखते हैं. अब ये देखते हैं. Tell me, see, this is our aorta, correct? This is our aorta and this is the IVC. I'm showing you the IVC. Can you all understand that this is the infiltrating ill-defined mass going inside the IVC? Is it appreciable to you all? Very nice. So this is our T3 tumor. Can you all appreciate this invading same tumor going inside? Is it apparent? Very nice. So this is our T3 tumor. For us to say T3, B or C, I have to see whether it goes above the diaphragm. Abhi to hum below the diaphragm hai. So we have to see above the level. And what am I showing you here? What am I showing you here? Let me zoom in and see whether you can see something abnormal here in the right atrium. Can you see something? Can you see a tumor thrombus? So that is how a tumor thrombus will appear. It will float inside the RA. Is there some sound disturbance for you guys? Can you hear me clearly? There is some shadi which is happening outside my house. Okay, cool. Okay. So this is our RA. All right, this is our RA which has the tumor thrombus. So now can you tell me the staging? Is it M1? Is it T4? Is it T3? What is the staging? Amazing. It is now T3C, correct? It is now T3C. Amazing, guys. Keep it up. Okay. So what about this now? Can you see here such an infiltrative mass? Now it is invading the adrenal also. Yahan pe hamara adrenal hota, it is invading that. So what is this now? What is this staging now? Yes, this is now T4. This is now T4. Amazing. So have you understood the staging, guys? Just revise this once and it'll be very, very clear. It's quite simple, correct? Even ABC bhi hame to yaad ho raha hai. Correct? Very nice. Okay. So from RCC, let's go to transitional cell CA very, very quickly and then we close the class. Okay. So transitional cell CA, typically, can you hear me properly? I am having to shout because of the noise. Okay. You can hear me, na? No problem. Okay, cool. So transitional cell CA, remember, it's a very rare tumor. Just hold on, guys. I'm having to shout actually. Now can you hear? Now can you hear the noise? It's become very loud. Okay, now can you hear me better? Am I audible? I'm audible, no? Okay. So basically, transitional cell CA, okay, it's a rarer tumor than renal cell CA, all right, and the most common site will be the urinary bladder, okay, and after the bladder, you guys can hear me, no? It's good? Now it started. I think they're just moving away, about to go now. Abhi sunai de raha hai na? Can I continue? Acha, now they've gone. Cool, now they've gone. Okay, so TCC most common in the bladder, all right, and in the kidney very rarely. It can be seen in 8% cases. Remember, it's a tumor which is very, very notorious for being multisynchronous. All right, so at the same time, it can be in multiple locations. Okay, it can be in the bladder also, it can be in the ureter also. I'm just gonna remove the headphones because now they've gone. Okay, am I still audible? ठीक है. So multisynchronous होने के लिए they are notorious. Alright, so we need to see the entire system, not just bladder. You guys know that bladder का most common is transitional cell CA, but remember in the entire pelvic calycial system from the pelvis to the ureter to the bladder, we have transitional cell only, correct? So they can occur in multiple places at the same time. Even when they are not at the same time, even when you have treated the bladder tumor, they can then be occurring in the renal tumor. So they have to be put on a surveillance. Okay, so remember this TCC, bladder, and it can be everywhere. If I ask you, so basically extrarenal part in the system, if I ask you, the most common part will be just outside the pelvis. Okay, just outside the pelvis at the PUJ. Okay, so bladder ke baad it is the pelviuretric junction, which is the second most common site. When will it occur? Much later than RCC. It is much rarer than RCC. So 6th decade, again more common in males. So now this is something which I'm showing you as the IVP. Can you all appreciate this as a filling defect? Can I call this a filling defect, guys? Do you all understand this? Yes. So this is a filling defect and that is how it will present. And this has been likened to a glass of champagne. So this has been called as a champagne glass sign. Alright, so champagne glass sign बोलते हैं या फिर goblet sign बोलते हैं. Alright, like a goblet of wine जैसे Game of Thrones में दिखाते हैं, the glass that they use. So that goblet की तरह this looks like a filling defect. Okay, so goblet sign or your champagne glass sign, basically same thing. So that is what you will see on your IVP or your any contrast study. But what is the investigation of choice? Can I rely on this? Is this very, very sensitive? No. So remember, again, our investigation of choice will be, yes, CT urography. CT urography. Biopsy, definitely. But straight away, where will we take the biopsy? Correct? Biopsy lene ke liye we need to know where the tumor is. So cystoscopy, again, can you just realize from your answer only, cystoscopy will only visualize the bladder. Correct. What about the ureter? I will have to do a ureteroscopy also, but ureteroscopy will miss out on the pelvic masses. Correct. Calycial tumor it will miss. So endoscopy, not the investigation of choice. The only 3D thing which can see everything entirely from the kidney to the bladder is our CT urography. And how is CT urography different from our CECT, guys? How is it different? Here, I take a delayed scan. I take a delayed scan in where I will see that there is contrast which is excreting from the kidney. Correct? We all know that when we inject IV contrast, it will go into the kidney. Then the pelvic calycial system will excrete it and it will appear opacified. Remember, so in a delayed phase, what we see is this complete opacification. Yes, after 10 to 15 minutes. Alright, it's a range. After 10 to 15 minutes, we see that the complete this is opacified. MR uro also can be done. MR uro is typically done in patients where contrast is contraindicated, because MR urography, just like MRCP, is not a contrast enhanced image. We can just do a heavily T2 weighted image. Remember MRCP heavily T2 weighted? Just like that, if we do a heavily T2 weighted image, I will see fluid and urine in the bladder and PCS. So when contrast of CT is contraindicated, then we can do MR urography. Okay, the sensitivity is a bit lower, that's why CT is preferred. Okay. Okay, so see, tell me the diagnosis here, guys. Where is the mass that you are seeing? Yes, if contrast-induced nephropathy or any factor, risk factor basically for contrast, then we can do MR. Very nice, guys. So you all can pick up this mass in the bladder. This is our bladder CA. And the most common pathophysiology will be transitional cell CA. Amazing. So you are all pakka radiologists now. You are staging RCCs. You are diagnosing bladder masses. Amazing. Okay, guys. So let's close it here. I have something more also in this class. Oh God, stuck. Stuck for everyone? No? It is fine? Should I refresh or now? Okay, ठीक है.